Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast, a weekly live show where we explore the power of culture and leadership in business. I'm Ryan McCarty.
And I'm George Rogers, and we go live every week to learn from each other and hear from other experts about how to effectively champion our team members and ourselves. So join us live every Wednesday on our social networks or subscribe. You can listen to Apple, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Now, let's champion your culture.
Hey, we're back for Champion Your Culture, the podcast. Man, what's happening, George?
What is on? That was kind of, we got to do that over. That was, I don't know what that was.
What?
It was just, man, we're back. Yeah, it's not the Ryan that everybody knows and loves. What was that?
I'm just trying to sound more professional today.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
All right. My bad.
Yeah.
Ryan, it's good to see you. Today's podcast with you. What is up, everybody? Welcome to Champion Your Culture, the podcast. I'm excited to be here with Ryan McCarty,
yes.
The world famous Ryan McCarty, the author, Ryan McCarty, keynote speaker, Ryan McCarty. You see how that feels a little bit more
just
like
keep adding.
Just keep on adding to the repertoire. World greatest workshopper.
Yes.
Traveling workshopper.
Yep.
Is that an actual word?
I'm a workshopper.
Workshopper. If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, I like to make up words. And we were just talking about this a little bit before we went live. Is that sometimes I make up words and I honestly feel like they are words.
Yeah.
And then there's sometimes where I just get 2 words or maybe 4 words and I put them together. It's like Georgism.
Georgieism.
I don't know what the extra E is about. See, again, my name is George, but he wants to call me Georgie. With that, it's a good time. How has your week been? I know last week.
Well, we had Labor Day weekend, so it was a long weekend. I'm not really sure. I think that's a good thing. It adds an extra day, but getting back to work after a long weekend is like, I need a long week.
Yeah.
I don't need a long weekend. I need a long week.
Yeah. So we're talking about changing up the work schedule. Like we should work 3 days and be off 4.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Work-life rhythm for me. Like,
oh, is it
every other day? now, there's some companies that are going to
3 day, 4 day work,
3 day, 4 day work,
3 day work.
Yeah, I've seen some at 3 day work days. They do 3/12s.
3 day work week.
Work week.
Well,
yeah.
that wouldn't be a week because a week is 7 days. So
but they do 3 day. They do 3 days. They work 3 days out of the week.
Yeah,
12-hour shifts. Would you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Would you want to do every other day, or would you want to hold 4 days?
I feel like right now I'm working 4 or 5 day, 12-hour shifts. So I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, the problem there is, Ryan, is that you work a real job and you work another real job and you have a marriage job.
Yeah.
You have fatherhood.
I don't even know. I think the problem is
you married into a beautiful family that is just creative, and they all have things, and you put your resume in there too. So
when you have a creative family, you end up doing
it's a family business
for everybody else.
You got 5 jobs, bro.
Yeah. Well, it's just all part of it.
So you probably working
a little bit.
12-hour days.
I was like, is this a Labor Day weekend? I know some people are actually working. It's a real privileged thing to say you got the weekend or a long weekend and you're off, because people are still working. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the service industry, everybody listening, all of you out there that are, there was no day off.
Yeah.
Right. All the servers and chefs and cooks and
doctors.
Anybody serving, right? It's like
that's true.
We all want this sense of purpose in our work. Yeah. We're like helping others.
I worked Monday.
Did you?
Yeah, I was serving food.
What'd you do?
I cooked.
For your family?
And I shopped.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Which, by the way, George hooked me up with what is it called? A griddle.
It's like a Blackstone griddle.
It's like a grill, but it has a griddle on top.
Top.
And it's a flat top.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like it's like
I napped it up a little bit.
I used to legit, I had a real flat top.
We should bring the flat tops back.
Should we?
Kid and Play. You remember that?
Yeah.
The French where it was just kind of a high low with a part.
You're talking about a Gumby.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. The Gumby was a good look.
Yeah. Gumby with a B in it, not Gummy.
Well, I grew up in New York, so all the styles that I was trying to emulate were not styles that would look good on me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're early in the game, yo.
Yeah, but back in the late 80s, early 90s, like everybody but Gumbies I couldn't pull off. You imagine me with a
you
Gumby.
You pulling off a Gumby is like me pulling off Frosted Tips as a black man. I tried it, but my hair went orange. I don't know if you ever seen those pictures or not.
I've not
but
seen the
somewhere
Frosted
after
Tips.
high school, I thought, man, all these people got, all my white buddies, they got Frosted Tips. It's kind of it's dope, man.
Yeah,
so
because you were hanging out, and I was hanging out with my black friends. So I was like, I need a Gumby.
Yeah, and I was hanging out with all white people. And
you know what a Gumby looks like on a white person? It looks like a sideways mullet. It looks like you got a mullet when you look at from the side.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
I got you. Which is more reason why we need to try this out. There's not a gel out there that we can get your hair.
But I want to see the Frosted
situated.
Tips on you, man.
Oh man,
it went straight orange, didn't it?
It went orange. You know what you did? I was bumping Cisco before Cisco had came out.
Oh god!
Like I was rocking the dye hair as a black man before it was a thing. Like I was 5 or 6 years early in the game. I'm talking about 2000 through 2005.
Yeah,
I was rocking. I mean, I thought I looked good, but after I looked at pictures 10 years later,
that's a whole thing.
What the heck was my family thinking? Like,
yeah, that's our whole generation should be really thankful that there wasn't social media, there wasn't cell phones. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because like looking back on,
thank God MySpace disappeared.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, for sure. MySpace held all the pictures, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
where's Time Hop when you need it?
MySpace Time Hop. Oh yeah. Well,
Time Hop has all the throwback stuff.
I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
What's Time Hop?
Time Hop is an app, man. It used to be able to put all your social media there, and like you can go back. Time Hop. You can go back. You can hop back in the past and see what you did September 6th, 2001.
Yeah, we don't want to do that.
I know. I know. It's dangerous.
We don't want to know that. I'm thinking like this generation that we're in right now, everybody's like, man, it's a messed up generation. It's only messed up because we see it all.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see your generation all up on social media. You know what I'm
probably
saying?
A good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, anyway. where would we be if social media was alive when we were younger?
Not here.
Yeah, probably
locked up.
Somewhere people are Googling what happened to Ryan and George.
What happened to George's Frosted Tips? Were you using sun in or bleach? What'd you throw on there?
Oh, dude, I went with the whole white people box kit, man. I had the cap on there and pulling. It was a whole thing.
Well, see, this is interesting.
A whole bad thing.
This is a whole conversation we could have because
with Soul Glow. Okay. Might add, I had that's where my hair went bad. It was like Frosted Tips with Soul Glow. With Soul Glow. I stood up, my hair was stuck because it was like the mixture of S curl juice and white people hair gel. It was like
go together.
I was stuck on the couch.
That's how you make glue, man. So you did that. I threw on a wave cap and put the I tried to put the grease in my hair. Yeah. I mean, you imagine what I woke up. I looked like I just stuck my head in a jar of Vaseline. Yeah. It was a mess, bro.
You look like that little kid that got into the lotion and lotion all over the place.
Yeah. Just a greasy mess, yo. And getting that shit out of your hair it took me like a whole week. Anyway. So this topic today is really cool in the workplace about recognition and being able. I love this idea. You better recognize.
Yeah.
You know, because like as leaders, managers, our team members have the opportunity, and we have the opportunity as leaders to really foster and cultivate the type of environment and culture that we want. That's why we always talk every week on Champion Your Culture about doing the type of leadership practices that bring about the type of workplace that we want.
Yeah.
Like we want to be in a workplace where people are recognized. If you came in with Frosted Tips, we would recognize it. You know what I'm saying? We're going to recognize stuff that stands out. So the question is, what is standing out? What stands out is going to be prioritized in the workplace as people watch what's praised, when they watch what's recognized, when publicly we say, hey, great job. You know what I'm saying? When we say, hey, thank you. I think also not just saying, hey, great job, but saying thank you.
Yeah.
Like really having those type of conversations where, for instance, like after we did the workshop with Latour Group last week, shout out to Latour Group and Terry and Scott and everybody there. We certified 16 of their leaders as culture champions.
Right.
Like that's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in those type of environments and then having done that workshop and coming out of that and you saying, hey, I just want to thank you for showing up the last couple days for this week. Like, it wouldn't have been the same without you. And it could have been just a quick moment for you, but it was a moment that stuck with me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the kind of stuff that gets sticky. We want people to stay in our workplaces, but we're not cultivating a workplace where people know that their contribution and their life matters, not just what you do. That's what I'm saying. Go beyond just, hey, good job, to, hey, thank you.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's different, man. Just it takes the focus off of just what you did to, like, you as a person.
Yeah.
I want to thank you.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about that? Because, and this is something we can understand and really learn as leadership cultivates this fostering of appreciation and recognition. Something so little like that really stuck with you. And as you were talking about stuck like you, I was thinking of that song, woohoo, stuck like glue.
Yeah. Keep singing, man.
Don't do it. Don't do it. I'm still trying to get my voice back. Last week, it sounded like I was a 50-year-old kid while we were trying to certify these people. I was going in and out, soprano, alto. It wasn't even a toe.
A 50-year-old going through puberty, man.
But something that small is saying, you know what, Ryan, I really appreciate you coming with me and being a part of this for many reasons. Selfishly, I've been talking so much over the last month, or probably my life, as many people would say, and they want me to shut up. And I was losing my voice, and I needed support.
Yeah.
I needed you there because you've been there. You've done it. I've not done this on a larger scale, like 16 people at one time. That's a lot. 2 days, 15 plus hours. I like to mix things up. And so having you there meant the world to me, and the experience that we got to experience together.
Yeah.
There are so many things that felt good for me, but something so simple like that I was doing it out of gratitude, right? And I was just doing it out of my natural instinct.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am. I embody that appreciation for people, because I understand that you could have stayed home. You got a family, you got 5 jobs and 2 kids and, all this other stuff, a cat, and, you got people in your neighborhood that depend on you showing up. You're there every week. So when you're not there, they're like, what's wrong with Ryan? They're knocking at the door. Like, your community is very, like, you live. So I understand the sacrifice you make. But just that moment where it was just something natural, that it was true. I was very genuine. I really appreciated you being there, stuck with you. That power and influence that we can make just as human beings. Let's take manager, let's take titles off the table, right? And just be humans that are grateful for people showing up for them. The power of that, because I don't know what Ryan's going through. I don't know that, from the outside, Ryan has a great life.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But maybe Ryan doesn't hear that word a lot.
Yeah.
Right. The power that happens through that authenticity is so important. I used the word and I didn't put it together. It sounded like I just put something together, but authenticity is actually a word. I just felt good about myself by saying that without stuttering. Ladies and gentlemen, I can mess up some words.
You authentically said that, man.
But I truly, genuinely felt that gratitude and appreciation for you, and it stuck. What happens when we cultivate that genuine feeling of appreciation for people who, yes, it's a job, it's work, but man, I truly appreciate you going out of your way.
Well, the old attitude,
meeting,
right,
and fulfilling those things.
The old attitude was, well, my name's on your check.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So, like, what's the point of, like, cultivating environments where people have more expectation than just, oh, you gave me a paycheck at the end of the week.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like, be grateful you got a paycheck.
Yeah.
When you have an attitude like that as a leader, be grateful because you got a paycheck, you're going to have employees that say, be grateful that I even showed up.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And what we want to multiply and what we want to grow and cultivate, we have to till that ground, right? We have to think of that, about it like cultivating. We're growing people. We're not just growing a business. And when you grow people, and this as a parent, the more that you encourage behavior that you want to see, the more that you talk about it and praise that behavior, the more that your kids are like, oh, okay, that's the type of culture we're cultivating here, right? Like, that's what's expected. A lot of people don't know what's expected of them, and this is a great way of sharing expectations too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if people go out of their way to do a good job, and it's more than just them just doing a good job, but to your point, you recognize what the person's going through on a daily basis at home and at work and stuff. The person enough where that it's a lot for them to do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, be specific with it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, thank you for showing it. Thank you for doing this.
Why are you thankful? Why are you
right? Why?
It's the whole how are you doing conversation, right?
Right. Do you
like,
really
how are
want
you
to
doing,
know?
or do you really want to know? Like, how are you doing? Like,
yeah.
tell me what's going on. Like, something's off. You're saying that same way that we say, how are you doing? Stop, listen, really care about what you're asking, and not just say, hey, how are you?
Right.
And keep on walking.
Yeah.
I want to thank you. And this is why I want to thank you.
Yeah.
That's planting that seed and giving them that sense of why, because sometimes people don't remember.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. I just want to thank you. I don't know why, but I just want to thank you for being here.
Yeah.
Right. But showing and telling why, explaining it in details. What do you feel like? What does that impact do when somebody explains it? What do you feel like that does? Especially, let's go back to work.
Mm-hmm.
A leader shows appreciation. You, my leader, you say, George, I want to thank you. Why do you explain the why? What do you think that does to an employee, a George or an Angel that's out there in the world? Beyond
just like boosting morale and making me feel better.
Yeah.
I mean, let's stop there. You know what I'm saying? It's encouraging, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you're boosting you're like, the idea in a workplace is we're spending a good amount of time, whether we're remote or not, in work, right? Like, among work people, even if it's virtual, you know, a lot of it's done virtually. We're going to be in meetings, we're interacting with people. There's all of that stuff. So being able to take a moment and pause and add this into the day intentionally, like formalizing this, allows for us to have a better understanding, not just making us feel better. And certainly that's enough reason. Like, why wouldn't we want people to feel better?
Yeah.
like there's all kinds of other reasons, right? Like, what's going to motivate me? Well, what motivates me is not you coming down on me all the time. That doesn't mean that as a leader, I don't need to have some confrontation from time to time, or say, George, can you step up in this area more? Right.
Mm-hmm.
But as I see you stepping up, if I'm not encouraging you along that process, then essentially what I'm saying is all I need from you is to behave. I don't care about you. But as I ask you to grow or to step up, as I'm encouraging you along the way, I'm saying you're a part of this process. And that to me is a greater motivator. Like, when we think about what motivates us, the stick or the carrot, right?
Yeah.
Like, are we motivated because we know if we don't step up, then we're going to be in trouble?
Mm-hmm.
Or are we motivated because when we step up, we know that that's what's going to be recognized and that's what is going to be praised? And it really depends on the individual too, because we don't certainly know all the time whether we are praising the person or giving the type of recognition that that person actually wants. We talked about that several episodes ago, the 5 languages of appreciation, very much like the 5 love languages. You know, like, my love language is pizza, right? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. But honestly, there's a conversation, because I see that a lot on Reddit, anti-work. You know, how many companies like go and they say, hey, we made record windfalls of money this quarter, and because of that, we're gonna have a pizza party. It's like, are we in 5th grade, yo? Is this like the book it
But
deal?
It's the mentality. It comes straight from childhood. It's the recognition of, hey, here's some food.
Throw a pizza party.
Throw a pizza party and get 15-minute break. Go grab your slice, but get your butt back.
Get your ass back to work.
Get back to the office, right? So we can do it again.
Right.
And I can buy me a boat.
Right. Exactly.
You get pizza, I get a boat.
Right. I mean, that is not what we're talking about here. We're not talking about throwing a pizza party because people went out. The genuine, authentic thank you of taking a moment. And from now on, I think I read about a company that does like thank you Thursdays or something. You know, we used to do high fives.
Yeah.
So there's like a piece of paper that had a hand on it, and we would write what that person did.
Yeah.
That was real specific. You know what I'm saying? And then we would give it to them. So you go into somebody's office and they had high fives everywhere.
Nice.
Because it kind of, you know, so it gave them a private acknowledgement, right? One-on-one, but then they got public recognition. Or, you know what I'm saying? Another thing that we do is we tie in recognition with the values. So like the promises of the culture of good, to care, to drive the business, to connect, to be authentic, to inspire. So those 5. So during a huddle, if you have a weekly huddle saying, hey, George, I want to give you a shout out because you cared about your team, right? So you tie it into a value.
Yeah.
So that people are connecting what they do to the values that are listed on a wall. Now appreciation's like that silent hero of like, we don't think about a whole lot, but the more we praise people based on the values, the more those values grow.
Yeah.
It's a great way to grow the values in an organization. You know what I'm saying?
I'm interested in those who are watching live, and I just put it up. But what does your company do to show appreciation? I'm interested if there's companies out there. We know that there's some that do have recognition things and do that. I'm interested in those things. One of the things that we found out, Ryan, and in our new peace study for Lighthouse Research and Advisory, Performance Engagement and Culture Enablement, one of the questions that we asked, and I remember this question, is question number 21.
Yeah.
And it is, how often does your company provide opportunities for recognition and appreciation at work? 47.5%. So over 1,000 people, 47.5% said frequently, 43.5% said rarely.
So basically like a 50-50.
And so there's a lot of companies out there that doesn't.
They aren't even doing this.
That's not even doing anything.
Yeah. Well, and you're talking about like a formal type program, or are you talking
just
about
any recognition? This is just, how often do you get recognized or appreciated at your work? How often do you?
To be honest with you, there's a lot. Recognition happens in every company.
Yeah.
It's whether it's positive or negative.
Well, and it is whether it speaks your language. If the recognition that company does is a pizza party and you are vegan and they never have just cheese, what is the appreciation there? I kid you not. And this is back to before I realized that you were connected with TCC.
Yeah.
Our Fort Wayne store. The same store that I found your book in.
This book right here, yeah.
Coach, Build a Culture Good. So Ryan and I got disconnected. We shared the story a lot. But Ryan and I got disconnected. We met when I was 10, he was 16.
20 years.
And we were disconnected. We went and literally had the same journey. We both got in a nonprofit. Yeah. Right. And
we both had frosted tips.
Both had frosted tips.
I didn't do that. I just want to be really clear. Of all the hairstyles.
Don't be ashamed, bro. It's cool.
I'm not ashamed of myself.
See what happens when you leave me.
I know. Should have stuck around. Yeah. You would have never had
20 years. And I found your book at a Verizon TCC off of Jefferson Street in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And the same store, we were buying pizza every month. It was our partnership of, hey, you send us referrals, we'll buy whatever.
Sure.
And we had done this for several years. 2 years. We were on this pace of just dropping pizza off.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. Which is nothing wrong with it. The only problem is,
I told you my love language is pizza, right?
The problem is that the leader of the store,
ate it all.
No, didn't like meat.
Oh, gotcha.
So my appreciation was going down the drain.
See, literally,
if you don't know people, if you don't know people, seriously, if you don't know people, you're going to show up in ways that's not speaking to them.
Yeah.
And we have leaders that give up on people like that. How frustrated is it that I show up for you and you don't recognize that I'm showing up for you, but I'm not speaking your language because I've yet to get to know you and truly care about what makes you feel appreciated.
Well,
you see the level of that I need to know, hey, Ryan doesn't like pizza. Ryan wants a beer and wings.
So that's a great, I do.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do.
Like,
you want to go to the dugout later and appreciate me?
We went to the dugout, ladies and gentlemen, Fountain Square, Indiana. Shout out
to Nick and everybody down at my favorite dive bar. But I mean, that's the idea, right? Yeah. It's being able to take a step back and say, if I thought that actually, I'll get into this whole idea of communication because people in general, I think, need to invest more and be intentional about communication. Yeah. Just in a general sense. You know what I'm saying? Yep. And this is the thought I want to leave with before we break for a second and go into craziest shit in HR. The idea that I gained when we were down in Latour Group that really stood out to me, and I'm not sure how to say this well yet. I'm working on the phrase, but wherever there's a communication gap, negativity by default fills that gap. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So appreciation, if we're not appreciating appreciating the good things. When I'm coming down on people, essentially what I'm doing is I'm giving attention to. So appreciation gives attention to what I want more of in the workplace. So if I want more of a certain behavior, for people to care about each other more, to trust each other more, then I recognize that because I'm giving attention to it.
Yeah.
But if I'm a negative leader, I'm appreciating the negative in the workplace because I'm giving attention to it. So that's what grows.
Yeah.
So what we're essentially saying is through appreciation, we're giving attention to what we want more. It's, to your point earlier, is a little selfish too.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I want from Ryan? Well, I want next time that we go to do something that he remembers that last time we did that together, that workshop in North Carolina, that I appreciated he was there.
Yeah.
So the next time you ask me to do something, I'm like, yeah, I know, I there's a greater sense of expectation and all of that. Anyway, so this segment here is brought to you by Culture of Good. And this is a great one here. This is the craziest shit in
HR.
All right, you ready for this one?
I don't know why, but I don't even know what's about to happen, but I'm laughing about it.
I'm going to read this one because this is not mine. And there's a whole lot of stuff here. I'm on an HR team that supports a wide variety of U.S. cities for our company, including our Florida locations. I don't know if you've heard of the Florida man, but this is apparently the Florida woman.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. This is the best story. We had some woman trying to avoid doing work by sitting out in her car in the parking lot. While she was hiding out there, she needed to use the restroom. All right.
75% of HR issues.
Well, instead of going back inside and literally instead of going back inside or doing literally anything else, she decided to pee out of her car window. Okay. Even though I'm also a woman, I was impressed and disgusted by the physics behind this feat. She had stuck her bare ass outside the window and just went for it. Unbeknownst to her, her male coworker had arrived at work late due to an appointment. He drove past to find a parking lot spot as this was happening and got full view. He reported the incident to us. One of our HR people had to investigate this. Shout out to everybody in HR. And sure enough, parking lot cameras could corroborate his story. Our HR person confronted
collaborate the woman. Or corroborate?
Corroborate.
Corrap. You get it? You see?
Yeah, I got you. Our HR person confronted the woman. Her response, well, how did he know it was me? It could have been anyone. We thought, okay, fair enough. The cameras aren't CSI grade zoom, so we saw the ass part. It was harder to completely identify the face. So we went back to the male peer and asked how he knew it was her. His response, oh, it was definitely her. The face tattoos were pretty recognizable. Hopefully he saw her face. And that, my friends, is
crazy.
All right. I don't know if we get any better than that, but
I hope it does.
Yeah.
I hope it does.
I have to be honest. I have done similar things on church buses, not pooping or peeing out a window, but I have definitely mooned a few people on a highway back when I was a teenager.
You know, these are we should have a confessions moment, right?
That would be really funny to have like a confession section in a podcast where
these are our confessions brought to you by
George's Hair Tips.
But you know,
that's a confession.
I will confess that I've at a younger age, there's so many stories going through my mind right now. I'm trying to figure. But at a younger age, I refused to stop. Only time we stopped on trips was gas.
Okay, yeah.
And so we would have buckets, like the guys on our trips.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were polite. We were either in the back row or we waited till all the girls were like, they're asleep.
Right.
But instead of stopping, we would pee.
Right.
And
no poop.
Shut up. I ain't gonna throw anybody under the bus. Well, you couldn't poop. No. That would be horrible. Possible, but crazy
shit on a vacation. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, we would do that all the time, man. We would just get a.
Oh God, I had a friend who tried that.
Yeah,
his family had fallen asleep. This is a true story. His family fell asleep. They were on a long trip, and he's holding it, man.
Yeah.
He has to pee really bad, and so he grabs his Gatorade bottle, and his wife's asleep right here. His kids are in the back, and he goes to use it, and it slips.
Oh no!
Yeah, and the Gatorade bottle falls, and he starts peeing all over the car. He can't stop.
Is it raining outside where at least he can roll the windows down?
Oh no, he woke his wife.
See, I had a moment like that.
Imagine waking up in a car and your husband's peeing all over the place.
Yeah.
That's what happened. Woke his wife up.
Was he 50 plus years old?
No.
I was gonna say he can blame it on age.
No, I know. I'm trying to get there, yo. I'm really trying to get there. What is it? The never trust a fart.
Yeah. There's I can't even say that joke. I'm not there yet. Not there.
Yeah, exactly. But this idea where negativity comes into conversation, right? Where there's gaps. So if we're not communicating what we want, or we're not clear with expectations, then wherever there's gaps in communication, then that's where gossip ends up. That's where negativity ends up. That's where we start to question. I've had bosses where I didn't really know where I stood with them. Mm-hmm. When we don't know where we stand with our manager, our leader, that's a really difficult place to be, because there's a lot of confusion. Am I doing really what is expected of me? You know, we talk about the last few weeks about checking in so your people don't check out.
Yeah.
Like, this is a way to check in. Like, every Thursdays are thank you Thursdays. We're going to make sure we encourage people on Thursdays. Yeah. You say, that's ridiculous. It's not ridiculous, because structure and framework and architecture allow us to stick to a plan.
Yeah.
When we have an idea, that's great. But if we don't have a plan to follow, all we have is an idea.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like, this is an idea. Like, let's cultivate spaces and environments for people to feel appreciated, feel like their work is meaningful. How do I know what's expected of me other than you telling me you better do this?
Yeah.
Well, another way of saying it is, hey, great work doing what you just did.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Either we're trying to get people to move in a direction by forcing them and saying you should be doing it this way, or we say you should be doing it this way by saying the way you did that was really good.
Yeah.
And I would do this a little differently and see how that works. That's an encouraging thing too.
Yeah.
But if we don't know where we stand with our boss, man, that causes anxiety and stress. And we know companies are laying people off left and right, and leaders that are leaving. So the team members are like, am I on the chopping block?
Yeah.
And then they're not being encouraged with their work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they're not being recognized, and they're like, oh shit, I'm next. You know what I'm saying? Like, like, you know, like if you got 7 brothers and sisters and everybody's getting spanked and you still in line, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, it's like I'm next. And so there's a lot of uncertainty in the workplace, and certainty and clarity, like just bringing this type of appreciation into the workplace and being intentional about it without it being fake, without leaders going around saying, you know, we need to say thank you for every damn thing that everybody does and blah, blah, blah. No, it's not about that. It's about rehumanizing the workplace and realize that we're building people. We're not building a business. We're running an organism, not an organization.
Yeah.
It's breeze. It does feel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It feels things. And so when I appreciate, I feel that.
Yeah.
And when I feel that, it creates a belief, it creates behavior. But appreciation is like, can be that hero in a workplace, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can. It can really shift a whole culture.
Yeah. That's good.
Yeah.
Like, I feel that genuine. I just want to hug you right now.
There's a table between.
It's probably a good thing. Some of that, let's high five, Ryan. That's funny. The reason why I don't have a bobblehead, ladies and gentlemen, because my head naturally does that. And so
we couldn't find a company that would make one big enough.
Yeah.
Look at my big head. This is literally to size.
Yeah. That's perfect. And there's some gray in the beard. Not nearly as much as you have now, but there's some gray in there. I don't know if you didn't recognize that, did you?
I didn't pay much attention.
Yeah, they put that in there as details, bro.
Yeah, I need to.
Your hairline in the back is not as, you know, they got a fresh fade on there too.
I lost my culture good stuff.
Oh man.
Anyway, we gotta get back to the topic.
what are some strategies and some ways, like some of the things, and I want to shout out Jason and Lamont. They share some of the things that their company does. Let me read. You cool if I just read a couple?
Go for it. We need to hear
Jason said they have some recognition kudos that they've done and given to one of their employees. To another is posted on a wall in the break room. At the end of the quarter, the company would do a raffle with those posted kudos. And it was a great way to see the greater things other departments were doing as well. And so, they would recognize it that way. Lamont said their company used sprint meetings on Monday mornings to highlight team members for certain accomplishments and achievements and do video shout outs. And so there's that virtual. We talk about a lot of those things. And this kind of ties into a lot of things that we discussed, Ryan, especially going, from the pandemic to hybrid work. And there's a lot of companies now. We've been meeting with companies that are like, how do we we're wanting to change the way we do things. We want people to come back in. It's not because we want to control or micromanage, but there's some new things rolling out. There's new revenue streams that are coming in that we want to kind of go out, and we need our people here, especially for strategy. If
it's really needed.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And it's not permanent. They're not saying 5 days. They're saying, hey, 2 to 3 days so we can get back. And so when it comes to appreciation and really the recognition side of things, there are a lot of companies out there, communication tools and technology that is out there that you can use.
More like a formal program
that you can implement. But some of the things like Lamont and Jason are sharing, there's companies out there where you can do that. One of the companies, and I won't say the company that they use until they you want to sponsor.
We ain't shouting out nobody that ain't spending money with us.
And so, but they have on their program where if I know that, hey, your dream is to do a bike ride, you want to get a Harley and do a bike ride, you can rent a Harley for a day and do a tour bike ride, or you want to jump out of an airplane. They got all these or you want to do a helicopter ride along the beach coast. These are all not a little piece apart. I'm talking about like these are big things that you can earn through these. And then all your team members can give you kudos. And once you get to a certain tier, there's all these things that you can get for yourself with this platform that you use. Yeah. It's a wonderful thing. So there's a lot of communication tools.
Some of that's really great, but also don't forget, like, being kind doesn't cost you anything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, words are powerful.
Like, I don't need a helicopter. Like, all that formal stuff is good. You do.
I want to. I
just want wings and a beer, man.
Yeah.
And see, I don't want to get in a helicopter.
You're low key. I'm bougie. I want the high class.
Right.
I put a lot of time into this, man.
So being kind to George does cost.
It's going to cost. Love don't cost a thing, but my time does.
Better make it worth it if you're going to appreciate me.
Yeah.
But, and that is the idea. You could set up a whole formal program, and we if you reach out to us and ask us, certainly we'll send you some ideas on how to set that up. But to structure something like this is as simple as saying, hey, every Thursday, we're going to make sure that we spend the day thanking people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to just be intentional that way. Yeah. I always love to say, like, a plan without a strategy is just a great idea, or a good idea, or a bad idea. We don't even know until there's a plan. But you have to have strategy to it. Like, there has to be, like, how are we going to do this? So if a formal program makes more sense because you have a larger company and you have more resource to put behind it, great. But if it's something that, like, I have 25 people in an office and 10 of them are remote, and you know what I'm saying, we only get together every once in a while, you just have to be more intentional about that. If there's less meetings, make sure that you add more appreciation in the ones that you have. It's quantity or quality, right? So if we don't have as much quantity of time together, the quality of what we do and what we say when we are together matters. The last thing you want to do is have a virtual workforce and you're not intentional about connecting with them. That's the last thing you want.
Right.
Like, I don't know all the ways to do it. Right. Because every workplace is different. Every culture is different. Every person's different. You got to know your team really well. But when you're intentional about appreciating people and thanking them, it just shifts the culture. It really does, man.
Simplicity is a key.
I wrote some ideas on things that we could do, like be specific with your praise, right? Like, be specific with it. Make sure that when you do recognize it, it's timely. You don't want to just recognize someone 2 months after they get, you know what I'm saying? Like, make sure it's close to when they did something so that it triggers, like, it's very similar because it releases Oxycontin, not Oxycontin.
Thank you.
What does it release in our brains? It releases a chemical in our brain that actually is like gives us that recognition and that feeling.
Breaking news, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Appreciation
is like Oxycontin.
There's a lot of companies.
I'm gonna look this up.
There's a lot of companies right now that are running around giving a lot of appreciation out there. No, some of the other things that we used to do, and especially during the pandemic, that I was a part of a lot of them, and I was joining other virtual workshops, and happy hours was a thing. Online games or some of those things, virtual workshops where people were just building just virtual activities and building those activities, team building activities throughout there. One of the most important things that was important to me through all of this, Ryan, and we talk about how this makes you really feel and the behaviors that you start to believe that then act out, right? Culture, what we believe culture is, how we feel, believe, and behave most of the time.
Yeah.
It's important for you to clearly define these things. You talking about, High Five Thursdays. What's the purpose of that? Making sure people understand the reason why we're doing this, right? Communicating those cultural values as you establishing and communicating to people in your organization. Like there's a purpose behind what we're doing. We're not just doing it just to do it.
Yeah.
There's a purpose behind it because we want you to know that we truly appreciate you, and we're going to be intentional about it as well. Another thing that you don't want to do though is say, hey, here's High Five Thursdays, and this is what we're doing, and people just think that is another program, right? They got that authenticity. Like you got to truly care. Like I've had people that had shitty bosses. Yeah. Excuse my French. I don't say words like that often, but the coffee's kicking in, ladies and gentlemen.
he does when the mic's not around. I'll just say that.
Yeah. So, but they have horrible bosses.
Yeah.
And then you have High Five Thursday, and my horrible boss. Well, I want to high five you.
Sure. And we're not talking about like just adding thank yous into a real shitty culture, right?
People, like you got to truly care. Or that high five means nothing. That kudos and appreciation means nothing.
Yeah.
When it's just a 5-second recognition with my peers, when you treat me like crap the other 39 hours and 55
I think
minutes. Math is not my thing.
Well, part of it's that peer-to-peer where we're cultivating experiences where people are shouting each other out. Like we don't want just like a bunch of managers going around just saying thank you to everybody every Thursday, right? The idea is that it's authentic, that it's genuine. To your point, it comes from a place of caring, comes from a place of really wanting to lead people in that way. Some other ideas that are real simple is a handwritten note, just a thank you. I think, that was one of the things that I have in the office, is thank you notes. I'm saying, from people are like, hey, and I'll tell you, a handwritten note sometimes is like, what is this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's kind of like a phone call. You don't get it much
because
anymore.
It says I went out of my way and spent some of my time. To your point, like time matters. If I just say thank you, that's one way.
Yeah.
But also thinking about different multiple ways of saying thank you, like saying it publicly or privately, doing it, writing a note. It could be verbal praise. It could be a small token of appreciation. It could be a pizza party. I'm not saying that pizza's off the table.
No, people like pizza out there.
Shit, just keep doing pizza, but make sure you got that vegan pizza.
Yeah, just make sure you're speaking the language and they can actually eat it.
Yeah, so it wasn't oxycodone or whatever I said. It was one of those. Yeah. It was
not Oxycontin.
No. It's like a dopamine. It's the same impact though.
Yeah.
So it releases the same chemical in the brain. So it's a reward center. It touches our reward center, in other words. So every time we're recognized, our reward center says, okay, we need more of that in this world.
Yeah.
And so we want to multiply that. So making sure that people have that feedback and growth. There's opportunities when you're recognizing to give like I said with you, like, man, that was really great. Thank you for showing up and giving your all toward that. And then also giving some feedback and being able to say, next time, try this and see if this works even better. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an opportunity to even grow that individual. And having that is like continuous thing. There's all kinds of ways to recognize people, milestones through their work. I think that matters. If we want people to stick around, longer, we need to recognize people are sticking around longer. I mean, that's one of the behaviors we want, we don't want people jumping ship every 3 months. So we want to recognize that. And we also want to be able to say collectively with our peers, like how are we doing that, not just from a business to an individual to a team or manager to a team, but also like how do we recognize each other on the team?
Yeah. It's important.
Yeah, man.
One of the things that popped up here in one of the chats was the company previously didn't do a lot of recognition. And one of the ways they started recognizing their employees was through leadership development too. So they started investing.
Interesting.
Start investing and say, hey, now you have,
Yeah.
because you did this, we want to thank you.
Yeah.
Here's X amount of dollars for you to go personal or business. Right. And so they had two tiers. If it was personal, they gave you so much. If it was business, they gave you so much. And I thought, man, that is a beautiful way. Like, like if you want to, like, we talk about recognition and appreciation leaders, and what it, like appreciation and how it really impacts retaining employees.
Yeah.
You want to talk about retention, and we all talk about what does it take to keep good employees?
Yeah.
Recognizing and appreciating them does that. Investing in them is even more so.
Yeah.
Like I want to stay where I'm invested in. I'm not just investing my time, but they're investing in me as well. And so I thought that was powerful. Obviously, we were very passionate about leadership development. It's something that we believe that, every company and organization should have.
Yeah.
And it's something that we are passionate about. We do it on site, virtually. But when companies have that continuous learning opportunities, even for remote, and this is a remote, I'm reading it right now. They said, even for remote employees, it's not something we have to come in for. We can do virtual e-learning platforms, webinars, virtual. And so investing in their professional growth demonstrates a commitment to their development. Yeah. And that impacts them. They feel appreciated because somebody's taking the time to invest in them. And I think that's powerful because it's important for leaders to know, because every time we have these conversations with CEOs and CFOs, and the conversation is, what's the ROI of me stopping somebody from doing, 10 hours of workshopping with some consultants, and it's never worked, right? That's the wrestle. It doesn't work. It works if you work it.
Yeah.
The piano's not going to play unless you put your hand on
basketball
it.
Doesn't shoot
basketball
itself.
Doesn't dribble and shoot itself, right? You got to work it. There's things that you have to do to apply, right? Lotion on my skin does nothing if I don't put it on there, right? I can look at the lotion bottle all I want to, scratching my dry skin, but I got to apply it.
What are you trying to say, Joe?
I'm trying to say,
you brought that up because the whole trip I was talking about my ashy knees.
Ashy knees. Ashy knees and elbows. But it'll work if you work it, if you apply it. Yeah. And so part of that growth recognition, how you do that, how you display it, it doesn't matter what you do, but like Nike says, just do it. Yeah. Just do it.
Yeah. And I think, like, as we're kind of wrapping up here, thinking about the ideas around that, where I know I belong. And you talk about this a lot with appreciation, recognition, all that, with the lighthouse stuff. But where I know I belong is where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated. And it's not just a good rhyme. If I'm celebrated, I belong there. I don't feel like I belong if I'm tolerated. Yeah. If I'm another cog in a wheel or another number on the team. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We talk to leaders. Some of them don't even know the names of people on their team. They've never really spent time with them. You know what it's weird.
Yeah. It's strange. It's a strange way of doing things. And you see that oftentimes as somebody who's promoted because they've been with the company. They haven't been developed to become a leader. And so that's just that's their nature.
Yeah.
That's probably what they received. They didn't have somebody recognizing them and appreciating them. We often display what we received. Right? All behaviors learn behavior.
Yeah.
And so if you're displaying that, like if I don't feel appreciated, if I don't have somebody recognizing me the way I am, is because somebody was always acknowledging, somebody was always there being attentive to my life or the things that I was doing. And so I display that because I know what it feels like to not have it.
Yeah.
And then I also know what it feels like to have it. And I'd rather have it than have that sense of feeling where, man, nobody loves me or nobody appreciates me.
You got to set that example.
Yeah.
And I think too, like, even if you're not a manager over a team, if you're just on a team, you can start spreading.
You can still be.
Yeah. I think as because leadership is example. So setting this example is like, whatever I want to see, I need to be. So it's like, what I want to see more of, I got to be more of. So if I've got to be more of an appreciative, grateful kind of person, like being grateful. And I think that starts from a place appreciation starts from a place where we're grateful for people, where we care about people. We're like, George, you matter enough for me to ask the question. I've never really asked you. I think I know you really well. But here's a good question to ask, and I'll just ask you, is it cool if we kind of end with this?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. How do you like being appreciated? Like when you accomplish something like this past week, like Latour Group, right? And you got that deal, you made the money for the company, you know what I'm saying? So all that kind of stuff. How do you like being appreciated? Like how do you tick in that way?
It's different. It depends on the situation. Sometimes it's gifts.
So complicated.
I know, but it's like sometimes it's just gifts. Sometimes it's just affirmation.
Okay.
I would say, and that's just what other people tell me, because I do like gifts, but my gifts are like shoes.
Yeah.
They don't have to be a good pair of shoes, but like if you go to Family Dollar or Walmart right now, they carry Nikes for $49.
There's other stuff than shoes or shoes.
But the greatest, there's things that go with it. But what I feel like I want the most is just time.
Time.
Yeah, because I think that's the greatest ROI. It's something that I know you appreciate me when you give me time.
Especially
whatever we do with that time,
giving my time to
and you
people.
Don't, right? So, and as we're into this, one of the greatest things, the reason why I truly appreciate you, we have a common like connection of things that we enjoy.
Yeah,
we were in North Carolina last week, and what we did to end the trip, was you trusted me. If
somewhat.
You know Ryan,
I don't know if I totally trusted you.
Ryan likes to drive. We both like to be in control when we're driving. I
can't be in the passenger seat almost.
And Ryan trusted me to go up a mountain, and not just any mountain. We're talking about up a mountain through some cloud. Like literally it was cloudy.
You couldn't see.
And then it started raining.
You couldn't see 10 feet in front of the car.
I honestly, there was a period where I didn't see nothing. Yeah. And I'm shocked we didn't go off a hill. Yeah. I mean, we got pretty close. I backed up.
Ironically, the hill was always on my side of the road.
And my door was always unlocked, just like waiting to jump out.
It reminds me of this horse that I rode one time that was blind. It had one eye. And it had a left eye. And every time it got near the edge of a cliff, it knew it was close to the edge because its hoofs started slipping. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, we were driving up this mountain and it took a lot of trust, man.
But we got to the top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. When we got to the top of the mountain, it was like clear as day. Like we were above the storm.
You could hear the rain.
You can hear the rain underneath us. It was such a beautiful, like, just taking that time. We both kind of walked away for a little bit to have a moment just to breathe in. The air smelled different. I thought it tastes different.
Yeah.
I know that sounds weird for people listening, but just
whole
like
different experience. Yeah.
Just to have that breathing. It was just a whole different experience, but that time with you was, not saying that Latour, the workshop, that was very powerful, meaningful, met some great people, leaders of this company. But that moment was probably my favorite moment because it was genuine, it was peaceful, and we were able just to kind of just dive down and just relax for a period of time. Yeah. That was my favorite moment. That time was my favorite time.
Yeah.
Although I enjoy the workshop. Workshops is fun.
Yeah.
But if you want to say, George, why did I feel so appreciative to you, Ryan? Is because I know how much you value your time and you're rather chill in a hotel, do your own thing, vibe, look at this, look at the stars and the sunlight by yourself. You share that moment with me, and it meant a lot.
Yeah. Thanks, man. I gotcha.
People, let me tell you about my best friend. We appreciate everybody joining us this week on Champion Your Culture, the podcast. And Ryan, as always, man, I appreciate you being here, showing up. It's a great topic. We want to encourage everybody out there. If your company doesn't have something right now that's helping employees be recognized or appreciated, there's that word again, just coming out. Appreciated.
When you're appreciated every day, it's appreciated.
Appreciated. There you go. Listen, be the change. Be that person that starts it, and it's genuine. It's not a program. It's not something that you have to phase in. It's just simply being who you should be as a human.
Yeah.
Be grateful for the people around you.
Yeah, you start every day and you find things to be grateful for. I think that works in every relationship. If I'm constantly focused on everything Qatar is doing wrong, we're not going to be close.
Yeah.
So anytime those things come into mind, I need to think of something I'm grateful for. You know what I'm saying? And kind of reframe and shift my own understanding of my belief system, because belief does turn into behavior. And if we want to succeed and really gain the what we want, it at work, well-being, right? Knowing that we're appreciated, all of those things, we have to start being that ourselves.
That is true. Hey, today is National Read a Book Day. Build a Culture of Good.
Champion Your Purpose.
Champion Your Purpose. You can check them out at culturegood.com or championyourpurpose.com.
Yes.
Also, National Coffee Ice Cream Day. I know you like ice cream. Make sure you get you some ice cream. So coffee ice cream.
Had an ice cream.
Tomorrow's tomorrow's National Beer Day. So cheers.
Man. It looks like this week I'm being appreciated.
Yeah, it's your week to be appreciated, my friend. I know how much you enjoy that. Anything else to say? You want to close this out today with anything?
That's it. We really appreciate everybody jumping on, and we'll see you back next week live. And you can listen anytime to Champion
Your Culture.
Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us on Champion Your Culture podcast today.
We're so excited that you're here and want to invite you to connect with us. You can watch the show weekly on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, or LinkedIn, and listen anywhere you get podcasts.
Subscribe today to get new relevant content each week on how to champion yourself and your team. Thanks again for listening to Champion Your Culture.